Now, climate stressors such as drought, floods, wildfires and cyclones have been attributed as contributing factors to climate mobility and the constant migration and conflicts among border communities within the Horn of Africa. Speaking during the launch of Managing the Impacts of Environmental Change and Conflict Mobility in Eastern Africa project in Nairobi, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development Principal Secretary Harsama Kello challenged development partners to not only focus on proposing climate policies, but also come up with practical solutions geared towards addressing climate shocks, especially in ASAL counties. Opicho Chemtai with the details.
Arid and semi-arid lands make up 80% of Kenya's landmass, yet this land suffers the most when it comes to impacts of climate change. Environment stakeholders, through the released evidence-based research in Nairobi, dubbed Managing the Impacts of Environmental Change and Conflict Mobility in Eastern Africa, identified the specific climate stresses that is playing a huge part in transboundary migration and conflicts.
If you look at even the movement pattern of people who are moving out of the countries, the hotspot areas are normally dry areas, water stress areas. Not long ago, there was even an earthquake in Ethiopia.
The group, led by Pan-Africa Country Director Dominic Godana, emphasized the need to understand the nexus between conflict, mobility and climate change that will help address the missing link that is contributing to migration and conflict among the border communities in the Horn of Africa.
To do that, we need to have projects and interventions on the ground. And for Pan-Africa, water is the big issue for livestock and farming, especially for those who have lost their livestock, and also for domestic use.
Our government's doing the right things. Are the policies designed already, really properly addressing these problems.
The stakeholders noted that the outcome of the McMayer project is intended to form part of policy and regulation on climate mobility and migration within the 8 participating countries.
We then want to work around designing a regional scale kind of project to be able to address these issues, because one country will not be able to address that.
We all need to put resources together and see how we can tackle these issues of climate change.
Meanwhile, ASAL's and Regional Development Principal Secretary Harsama Kello says there is a need for development partners to focus on coming up with practical climate solutions and the financial muscle to kickstart climate projects, especially in ASAL areas, other than focusing on policy formulation.
Whatever you are doing must align to what is real. Don't give us a cinema. Don't ridicule people with problems. You don't understand their priorities. Ask us.
The PS added that ASAL areas are facing double tragedy in that they are lagging behind in terms of development, and when hit by impacts of climate change, then competition for the scarce resources occurs, leading to internal displacement, transboundary migration and conflicts.
Development partners who are interested in the welfare of these people must think about food security, must think about providing water, must think about engaging women and youth in those areas.
Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.